Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you all for joining us today. My name is Rashmita, and I'm the event planner for Microsoft Reactor India. This session will run over the next 60 minutes, including Q&A. But before we begin today's session, please take a moment to read our code of conduct. We are all here to learn together, so please be respectful of other people's views, understanding of differences, being kind and considerate in the way you engage. The chat section will be open throughout, and we do encourage you all to participate. So please feel free to drop all your questions in the chat section. Let me bring in Gomolemo, our speaker for today's session. There you
Thank you so,
go.
so much for bringing me in. Are we good to go?
Yeah. Yes, the floor is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming to this Reactor session where I'll be going through how we can get started with AI-driven agents development inside of Microsoft Copilot Studio. My name is Khomelemo Mohapi. I'm a cloud advocate here at Microsoft, focusing on the Power Platform and AI. Let's get straight into it. And the agenda for today's session is a very simple one. I'm going to first do a quick overview of what Copilot Studio is, how we can build with it. And then I hope to just spend the rest of the time building demos, showing you all the amazing capabilities of the product, including how to leverage a bunch of the AI tools that we have in the product as well. So hopefully we can keep this interactive, ask questions in chat, and yeah, let's have a good session. So first things first, we need to speak about Copilot Studio within the context of Microsoft, right? It is an integral part of the Microsoft Copilot stack, giving us a low-code way to build out intelligent agents. It is also part of the Microsoft Power Platform, which you are seeing on the slide right now. The Power Platform is a suite of low-code tools spanning Azure, Dynamics 365, as well as Microsoft 365. And these tools allow us to build business applications rapidly. Within the Power Platform, we have 5 main products, namely Power Apps for mobile and desktop application development. We have Power Automate for cloud and desktop process automation. We have Power BI for business analytics and reporting. We also have the Power Pages tool, which is a way for us to create enterprise-grade business websites. And of course, the star of today's show is Copilot Studio, where we are able to build agents. And the thing about the Microsoft Power Platform is that all of these tools allow us to seamlessly work together, and it gives us a complete set of tools for enterprise app development. But on top of that, the platform is also highly extendable, meaning that we have access to a large Power Platform connector model, more than 1,500 internal and external API connectors. And of course, if you have your own custom APIs, custom services, you can plug that into the Power Platform as well. So the possibilities are truly endless. But we're speaking about building out agents, and the question that we get all the time is, what exactly is an agent? And here at Microsoft, we like to define an agent as an intelligence AI assistant that uses AI to automate and execute business processes, working alongside or on behalf of a person, team, or organization. So the more complex the task is, the greater the value an agent can deliver for you and your business. Here at Microsoft, we have a bunch of first-party agents experiences across all of our ecosystem. These include things like Microsoft 365 Copilot, as well as Copilot for Sales. And these agents are really changing the way employees work. But what if you wanted to create your own custom agent? You wanted to have an agent that goes beyond your employees, even to your customers as well, right? If you want to build an AI assistant using AI tools that can reach your customers as well. And that is exactly what we're going to be focusing on during the course of this session. Now, if you take a look at agents as a whole, they come in all shapes and sizes. There's a spectrum that we like to speak about. Every company right now is in a different phase in the agent building or agent experiences journey. And while some are already building autonomous agents that do a whole bunch of things within the business, others are still starting out and trying to figure out exactly what this agent experience is. Now, the labels that we're seeing on screen across the spectrum, being retrieval, task, and or autonomous, these are not official names, but these are just the way that we like to describe the types of agents and the gradual flow of what companies would start building when they start building out agents. So for a quick breakdown, we have retrieval agents. These are agents that usually stick to the script. They built with very clear instructions about how to act, what data sources to use, what they should help with. And they usually just do a cut and dry task, right? They just get the information that you need and display it to the user in a user-friendly way. But if we move on, we also have the task type of agents. These are a bit more focused on certain actions, right? They're wired into workflows or processes within your business, and they help to automate repetitive tasks. So if you have something that you're doing every day, every week, every month in some sort of rhythm, or there's a action that you perform for any specific reason, this is the type of agent that you would build, an agent that understands the rules of your business, that understands the knowledge workflow and understands the processes. And then they just go out and do those repetitive actions for you. And then, of course, the last type of agents that we have are the more autonomous agents. These are the ones that usually take things to a whole other level. They are able to, on their own, plan and adapt and even learn as they're doing various tasks for you. They can retrieve information, they can perform tasks, they can leverage actions. But the idea behind this is that the agents are smart enough to understand exactly what it needs to do, to understand exactly what information it needs, and to understand exactly what actions it needs to act on to perform a particular tasks. So this is the spectrum of agents that we usually speak about at Microsoft. And of course, Copilot Studio fits into this picture by giving us an end-to-end low-code conversational AI tool for building out your own agent and for extending Microsoft 365 Copilot. This means that with this product, with Copilot Studio, we are able to provide a complete lifecycle for designing, enhancing, and managing agents from a single pane of glass. The word low code might scare off a few people, but like I said earlier on, this product is truly extendable and you can push it as far as you need to. And with Copilot Studio, it makes it very, very easy to build out conversational experiences across various industries. In fact, a report by Gartner says that within the next 3 years, a third of all work experiences will be based in conversation. And that's important. That is huge because it means that it's going to be changing the way that we operate, right? And through these conversational experiences, we are able to then leverage solutions, conversational solutions, as any part of your business. For example, if you want to help customers move faster, if you want to boost sales and spot upsell opportunities, if you want to speed up a finance workflow or cut down on errors, if you want to make marketing much more connected within the business, if you want to get new hires up to speed in HR, or even simplify legal reviews and contracts, right? These are just some of the many use cases that are unlocked with conversational experiences. But more importantly, they are now become they are now democratized because of Copilot Studio. And I've mentioned it in a few slides back that Copilot Studio is indeed an end-to-end complete life cycle for building out these agents, all within a single SaaS-based experience. And since it is SaaS-based, everything you build is live almost instantly. You can simply sign up, get the correct licenses, and start creating your agent in the online graphical studio, which I will show you in a little bit. So from the top of the slide, going clockwise, you can start by creating chat experiences using natural language, right? All you need to do is describe the type of agents that you want, connect the relevant data sources, and you already have an agent that can chat over your data. If that's not enough, you can then create specific topics. Topics are discrete conversational parts that allow you to control the move or the flow, rather, the flow of conversation that your agents have. And even on top of that, you're now able to build in actions. With these actions, you can use the pre-built connectors and data sources that we have, or you can even call in Power Automate, or even call your own backend services and APIs into your agent as well. Moving along, once you've built out your agent and designed it exactly how you want it to be, you are able to then publish to multiple channels, not just Microsoft first party channels, but to external channels as well. A lot of people like to publish their agents to things like Microsoft Teams to be in places where the employees are already working, which I think is awesome. And of course, once your agent is published and it's being used, there is a built-in dashboard where you can see how the agent is responding. You can see things like what messages are being sent, any bottlenecks or errors that the agents are having, how long it takes to resolve issues, and you can iterate within the same experience as well. And of course, with this being a Microsoft product, you are able to extend it with Azure and the rest of the Microsoft cloud, bringing in external AI services into Copilot Studio to take your agents a little bit further. Now, when we're talking about building out agents, there are various ways to build them out. Again, I'm hoping to touch on everything for everyone. If you're a beginner and you're using this tool for the first time, there's something for you. Or if you are the more experienced builder, the more experienced maker, I hope to show you how you can also leverage your skills as well, building out these agents. And we will touch on every one of these when we move to the demos. So with that, let's go ahead and go into a whole bunch of demos that I want to just show you, just showing you how to leverage these AI experiences within Copilot Studio. A quick overview of what we're going to be doing. First, I'm going to show you how to build out an agent using natural language, interacting with the agent maker and adding in external knowledge as a basis for that agent. Then in the next demo, I'm going to show you how to build out a conversation path or a topic using natural language as well. So again, leveraging the internal AI tools to build out these AI agents. Then in the third demo, I'm going to try and take it up a small notch, and we're going to introduce AI prompt-based actions and leverage GPT technology, inside of our agents as well. So I'll show you how that works. And of course, at the end, we're going to be speaking about how to leverage generative orchestration. And we're going to also include a Azure AI Foundry model that we leveraged in a .NET API, and we're going to bring that into the Copilot Studio experience. So those are the demos. They sort of level up with each one in terms of complexity, and I hope there is something for everyone. So with that, I'm going to exit my slides here, and let's go ahead and go to my browser. And here I am inside of Copilot Studio. Essentially, it's copilotstudio.microsoft.com. If you have a license, just sign in with that license, and then we can get started building out these agents. The first agent we're going to be building is a Xbox support agent that answers questions based on the Xbox product. And for that, we're going to be using natural language. So what I'm going to be doing there is, you see on the home page here, we have this describe your agent to create it. So right inside of there, all I'm going to do is I'm going to describe the agent that I want to build. So here I'm saying this agent will inform users on all things Xbox, including pricing, games, and tracking information on all orders. So simple, natural language. We'll press the send key. And then with that, that will open up this conversational builder where we can interact with an agent to build our agent. So here it's just trying to understand the context of what we've just said, and then it should give us a response for us to build out our agent further. So let's just wait for that to come in. It shouldn't be too long now. Of course, this is dependent on network. Let's cancel this. What I'll do is I'll just refresh my page here quickly. Again, this is all live, so you can see the full experience. But let's see that. Let's load it in and start again. So almost immediately, I'm going to go in and describe the agent I want to build. I'll press the send key over there. And then that will then take the context of my description. And hopefully we have a response sooner than earlier. Okay, I'm seeing that there's a bit of a issue right now. Okay, so it is taking a bit of time to load. So what I'll do then rather is let me skip the conversational AI experience, just to say that there is a bit of an issue right now. So I'll just click the skip to configure, and I'll show you how to build out this agent manually here. So what I'll do is, the first thing is I'm going to name this the Xbox support agent, right? Just giving it the type of name. Oh, you can see that it has tried to leverage what we want. Let me try that again. I think today things are just a bit slow. But let me try this again. Let's see what is happening. I guess it's just taking a bit of time today due to network. But let's see, loading. Okay, we'll just give it a minute. If it doesn't load, then we'll just skip on ahead. I don't want to spend too much time on this. Okay, that just seems to be taking a bit too long for my liking. Okay, nope, that's fine. Let's go ahead and skip to configure. So what I'll do is I will type in the name of the agent. And then in here, we need to create a description of what this agent will be. So I will just paste in the very same description that I had earlier on. This agent will inform all users on all things Xbox, including pricing, games, and tracking information. That's cool. But then under that, we need to also think about the instructions. Instructions in an agent are essentially the system prompt. We are shaping the way that the agents will respond, will interact, how they will respond, how will they leverage the knowledge sources inside of Copilot Studio. So, for example, what I can say for my first prompt is I can say, I don't want you to give any legal, financial, or personal advice. Let me, right? I don't want you to give any legal, financial, or personal advice. Also, I don't want you to speak about competing consoles and competing companies, right? So I just want you to speak about Xbox and nothing else, right? So I'm telling the user exactly how it needs to act. The other thing that I can say is I want this agent to use a friendly yet professional tone. So you are able to shape the general tone of the agent as well, which is kind of nice because you wanted to ensure that it responds in a certain way. And then, of course, the other thing is that I want you to, for example, if someone has any troubleshooting issues, I want you to respond in bullet form, right? So if someone wants to figure out an error that they have, or if someone wants to figure out how to do something, I'd rather have the agent respond in bullet format so that it's clear and concise for the user. So the instructions here are whatever you want them to be. You are able to define them in whatever shape or form. That's fine. What I'll do is I'm going to split these up as well, just so that we have a very clear way of defining these, just so it's not confused, right? And then once that is done, we can go down to the knowledge section where we are able to add knowledge for the agent. So in this case, I want to add external websites. So I'm going to select public websites. And then the first website that I wanted to leverage is xbox.com. So I'll go ahead and click add, confirm ownership of the website, and I'll select add. And essentially, knowledge is what powers the knowledge or the data of the agent. Whenever I ask a question, it will reference that internal knowledge first to try and see if it can come up with an answer. So I've added Xbox, but I can go ahead and also add in learn.microsoft.com as another knowledge source, just to have that going for us as well. So let me go ahead and add that. And as you can see, I've now added those two knowledge sources. Once that's done, once I'm happy, I'll go ahead and create the agent. So as I'm creating the agent here, it's going to leverage what the description is. It's going to make sense of the instructions, and that will shape the way the agents will respond. And of course, it's going to take note of the knowledge sources that I've given to the agent as well. So you can see I have the description here, I have the general instructions, and I also have my knowledge sources. And almost immediately, right out the box, let me go ahead and refresh this test pane, and almost immediately I can test out and see if it works, right? So how much is the Xbox Series X? Let's go ahead and ask that question. And as you can see, we get an answer straight away. The price of the Xbox Series X is $499. And what's nice is that there's also references to each of the websites that I added as knowledge, so I can see where those answers come from. I can take that further and ask, what resolution can I play in, right? So I'm asking a follow-up question, right? And hopefully we then get a response that we can play with games up to 4K. And again, there's a reference to the sites that we gave it as knowledge. And you can see I did not have to specify exactly what I'm talking about, right? This is that multi-turn conversation experience that we've all come to be used to when it comes to agents. I can just say what resolution can I play in, and automatically it knows that I'm speaking about the Xbox Series X, which is cool. Let's test one more question, and basically I'll say, how can I get started developing games for Xbox? Um, let's go ahead and send that. And it should then come up with an answer that leverages not the xbox.com site, but rather the learn.microsoft.com site, because that has all the developer instructions to building games and extensions for the Xbox. And you can see it's also following the instruction that I placed here for it to reply in bullet form format, listing every single step. So whatever you do, it'll always try to adhere to the instructions that we have set it out to be. So in those few steps, we've already leveraged a AI capability called generative answers that just takes all the data that's inside these websites and it instantly answers questions for us. But sometimes that is not enough, right? It's just taking data and it's spitting it back. I mean, the answers are good and they will always be relevant, but how do we take it a step further? How can we control exactly what is said to the user? For that, I'm going to go to our second demo, our second agent as well. And we're going to speak about the Contoso Salon agent and how we can create a topic that takes in a salon appointment. So let's go to topics. And like I said earlier on, topics is how we can control the conversation part. It is how we can control exactly what is said. And in here, I'm going to add a brand new topic. And instead of from blank, I'm going to use AI. Of course, I'm going to be creating the topic from a description using Copilot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do two things here. I'm going to say that I want to have a topic where users can book a salon appointment, and let's describe the topic as well. I want someone to book an appointment. I want them to provide their full name, their email. I want them to choose from a list of services, including hair, manicure, massage, facial. And I want them to select the date and time of the appointment as well. So I'm simply describing what I want this conversation to be. And when I click create, it's then going to read my description, read my title, and it's going to formulate all the nodes, all the structures, all the elements that I need to create a successful topic. As you can see, that is exactly what it has done here. It has created a bunch of nodes where I can interact with the topic automatically. So the first thing that we can identify is our trigger. And this trigger helps Copilot Studio determine if a user wants to use this particular topic. So if I come in chat and if I say, tell me what is the HR policy for my company, obviously that is not related to booking an appointment, so this will not trigger. But if I say I want to book a massage for the weekend, then Copilot Studio is smart enough to understand that this person is likely wanting to book a salon because it is matching the user statement across these various trigger phrases. right? And of course, those phrases do not have to be exact matches. They can just be similar to what has been said in the trigger. I asked it to also ask the user for their name. So there's a node to ask the user for their name. And in this node, this is called a question node. It allows us to ask the user a question. And inside this question node, there are three elements. There's the question, which we can edit. There's the entity that allows us to identify a particular entity from the user. And of course, there's the variable where we are storing the user's full name. With entities, this is also another smart AI focused utility inside of Copilot Studio that allows us to um, intelligently extract the exact details that we need from the user. So for now, I have identified that I want to get the person name from whatever message that comes in. You can say things like you want the age or you want the city, and no matter what, it's able to extract that detail for you. To show exactly how entities work, I created a quick agent here to just explain this capability. What I'll do is I'm going to track between topics just to show you exactly how this works. So I'm going to refresh this pane here, and you'll see that it's asking, what is your full name, right? So I can just go ahead and say, my full name is, then I put my full name. And when I press enter, what that will do is that it will extract just my name from this message. Because I am using the person name entity, it will take the message and then it will try and identify the person name from that message. The same thing if I were to just put in a single name, it knows that that is the single name, but it also works for much more complex messages as well. For example, if I were to put in a full sentence and say a bunch of unrelevant things using an emoji as well, it is still able to then go ahead and extract the full name for us. So we don't have to worry about how the user is going to be responding to the agent, which is pretty cool. So that's how entities work, which is why for the full name, we are getting the person entity, which is cool. But now maybe you want to edit this question to say, make it a bit more friendly. We can say, hi there. Um, what is your full name, right? It's not a big change, but it's just making it a bit more friendlier. We can move on to the next node where we have this question node. And in this question node, we have, what is your email address? The same thing. We're using the email entity to extract the email from the user. But in this case, what I can do is I can edit this message to say, thanks. And then I can add in a variable to make this more of a personal experience. So with this variable, I can identify the full name. So I can just say, thanks, name, what is your email address? So I don't just have to leverage or create variables. I'm able to leverage those variables in subsequent nodes as well. So that is how you can get started building these topics with AI, and then you can just customize the experience for yourself. I'm seeing a question in chat that are we able to create our own entities and identify them? The answer is 100% yes. If you go into the entity tab here, you are able to create your own entities. You can either create a closed list, or you can create a expression. This is a more complex way to try and identify certain parts of a user message. So that is a way for you to create your own entities and customize it further for your agents. So with that, let's just look at this question node once again. You see that I have edited it, but this is an AI driven experience. So I'm going to undo my changes, and I'm going to show you that even if you are not familiar with trying to leverage certain tools, let's see if I can add a message to this node using natural language. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this node because I want to edit this node. And on the right hand side, you will see the edit with Copilot pane, and it's asking me what I want to do. In this case, I want to update this question node to say thank you to the full name variable from the previous node, and then proceed to ask the question, right? I'm just putting in a natural language statement, and we're going to see what it does, right? Let's click on update, and hopefully, let's see, it updated the question node, but I don't know which node it updated. It seemed like it updated another node, or it added a node to the end. So like with all natural language tools, it is not a perfect thing. But of course now, because I did not know how to leverage variables inside of the node, I used natural language. I can just go ahead and copy the statement and paste it in to the node on top, right? So let's go ahead and delete that. Let's scroll up. Thank you. What's email address? And we can go ahead and paste that in to our question. But that's enough with the nodes. Let's just go down to this one. As you can see, it created another type of question with a multiple choice options entity. And with that, we are able to add our own choices. It already has those choices for us because we specified that we want the user to be able to select between these options, which is cool. But then the other thing that we might want to do is that we might want to leverage this and say, hey, maybe we want to add what is called a condition node. And that is how we can add additional nodes inside of the visual authoring experience. So I can just add a condition, and I can say if the user selects hair, since we have a bunch of various options. So if the user selects hair, I then want to ask them a follow-up question to say, hey, let's say, sorry. Okay, let's go back here and say, what hairstyle would you like? And then I can change this entity to say, I want to take the user's entire response. So I don't have to just pick and choose. I can just take the entire response. And then I can save this into a variable, change the name of that variable to hairstyle, which is a nice way to just customize the topic a bit further with a condition, right? They can select any option, but if they select hair, it'll trigger this, and then it'll ask them the hairstyle question. Okay. And then after that, we ask them what the preferred date and time is for their appointment, and then we can go ahead and summarize everything within the topic node. So you can see it has already created a message node for us with the full name, with the email service, and the appointment dates and time. We can take that further by then including the hairstyle in case they did specifically choose a hairstyle. So I'll just go ahead and add that in. With that done, I can go ahead and save the node as is. And then once that's saved, we can go ahead and test it almost immediately. So we started from AI where we just described the topic. We customized it a bit further just so it's a bit more personal, and we can go ahead and use that almost immediately. So I would say something like, I would like a appointment. Let's go ahead and press enter. And then now it's just asking us the various questions. What's your name? What's your email? What service would you like to book? I'll select hair. What hairstyle do you want? So I can just say something like braids. And preferred date and time, I can say maybe 10/10/2025, for example, at 11 a.m. There you go. And of course, we have the summary message. Very, very quickly, it took us between 5 to 10 minutes to start from AI, create the topic, customize it, and we already have a topic ready and waiting. And of course, we can create these topics for all sorts of scenarios within the context of our agent. Okay, so we have created the agent from natural language. We've created a topic from AI as well. Let's take it a bit further by leveraging AI prompt actions. And for that, I'm going to go into my next agent, which is an insurance claim processing agent. And essentially with this agent, I want the ability to upload an image of a damaged car or a damaged house item. I want AI to analyze the image. I wanted to describe the type of damage, and I wanted to start the process of an eventual insurance claim for me. So I don't have to do all of the work of filling in the details like the type of damage, the color of the car, and all these things that take up my time. And we can do that with the ability of custom AI prompts that is available as a feature of AI Builder, and we can leverage AI prompts inside of Copilot Studio as well. So let's go ahead and create our topic. But first, I'm going to just turn on this generative orchestration feature. And essentially, because we are now leveraging external tools, other actions inside of our agents, we are turning on generative orchestration because I want the agents to be able to leverage all these various actions inside of our agent. So let's go into topic. Here, I'm going to add a new topic, but this time I will create it from blank. And you will see that when you create an agent from blank, we have the same type of trigger. But when we have generative orchestration turned on, it is no longer trigger phrases, but rather we have a trigger description. So here I'm saying this topic is for automating insurance claims. It is triggered when someone submits an image or description of the damaged vehicle, right? So every time someone submits a message that matches this, it'll then trigger this topic. And then after that, I can go ahead and add in a brand new node. I'll go to the add an action section, and I'm going to go to new prompt, which is to create an action in AI Builder using a model. And what this will do is that this will then open up the prompt builder. The prompt builder is essentially a prompt engineering interface, a low-code prompt engineering interface inside of Copilot Studio that allows us to build out custom AI actions. These AI actions can be similar to the prompts that you give inside of AI tools like Microsoft Copilot, like Microsoft Copilot, or even Chat GPT, where you can create prompts and do certain things, but now we can leverage them inside of the Copilot Studio experience. It's taking a bit of time to load, but here is the interface. It's loaded up. Let's create a prompt that will work for us. I can go ahead and create a prompt right here. I can just start typing, or I can use the write your prompt with Copilot, where I can essentially describe what I want to happen, and then the prompt will be created for me. So what I can then say is, inside of this tool, I can say, I want my prompt to analyze an image of a damaged vehicle to extract the severity, the location of the damage. I want the license plate, I want the car color, and any other additional notes that I will need for an insurance claim, right? So if I press enter, it's then going to create this AI prompt for me. And in a few seconds, you can see it has created quite a robust prompt. You can see it starts out with, you are tasked with analyzing an image for a damaged vehicle, and all the information that I gave it. I have instructions. So I want you to analyze the image. Then I want you to extract how severe the damage is, where the damage is, the license plate number, the color of the car, and any other additional notes that I will need for the insurance claim. Then it's giving me an output format. So I'm telling it exactly how I want the data to be displayed. And of course, here is an example of what that data looks like. If I'm happy with the prompt, I can just select keep it. I can edit it if I need to. I'll leave it as is for the demo. But here, what I can then do is I can then add a particular input where I can upload an image. So what I'll do is I will go to add, and you'll see it's asking, do I want text or do I want an image? So I rather have an image input. And then it's asking if I want to switch to GPT 4o. I'll click on OK, and I'll explain what that means in the moment. But essentially, here is our input. I can change the name of that input to image, and then I can give it like sample data. So in this case, I'm going to upload an image there, and let's give it the sample of that car right there. So I'll go out of this, and let me quickly explain the model that it asked us to change to. So essentially with AI prompts, it primarily deals with text. So I put text in, it gives me text out. So I can say, analyze this email and tell me what this person wants. When you're using text, you can use the basic GPT-4o mini model. That's very good with text. But now, because we are using images, we're using an image, we need a prompt that is multimodal, that can read both text and image, which we can see here. So that's why it forced us to change to the GPT-4o model, because we are dealing with images. But with that, let's go ahead right now and test the prompt. You saw that I uploaded that image of that red car, and let's see what comes back as a response. You can see it says that it's a severe damage. The location is the front bumper, left headlights, left fender. It extracted the license plate number. It identified that it is a red car. And of course, there are additional notes that comes from that image. So all of what I would have to do manually can now be done by an AI prompt. Now, text is great, but it's very hard to work with a chunk of text when we are inside of the chat experience. So a nice feature of the prompt builder is that we can go ahead and change the output from text to JSON. So inside of JSON, I can then also click on edit, because I can say that maybe I want this JSON to be a particular format. So I can paste in the formats that I want for every single response, click apply, and then every time I test the prompt, what it will do now is that it will always bring back the response as JSON. And with JSON, that is much more easy to interact with and use inside of a Power Automate flow, or even inside of a Copilot Studio agent, which I think is pretty cool. So now that we have our prompt, it's ready, it's working, I'm going to go ahead and name it. So I'll just name it insurance claim prompt. Let's go ahead and save the prompt. And just to note, like, this prompt building experience is not native to Copilot Studio. You can do it inside of Power Apps and inside of Power Automate as well. So we've built the prompt. The prompt is now inside of our topic. Now it's asking us to have a image, right? So we need to be able to extract the image from whatever the user inputs in the chat. So for that, we're going to be using a Power FX formula. And then we're going to extract from the system, right? Sorry, let me spell that correctly. System.activity.attachments. So whatever attachments come from the user, but you can see that this statement results in a table. So I'm going to wrap this in the first function. So I want the first image from the attachments table, and I want the value. So now we can see now that we are dealing with a singular blob, which represents the image. So I will insert that into our variable, and that image will then be passed into our prompt. I can then create a variable to store the claim information. So I'll call this claim, claim record. Okay. And then almost instantly, I can then use that in a message. So I can say, here are the claim details. I'll say something like, here are the claim details. Are they ready to submit? And inside of this, I can then go ahead and state each of these values. And then using a variable, I can go ahead and get each individual record because I made the output as JSON. So for example, severity is there. I can also reference the location of damage. I can then reference the license number. And again, this is a benefit of making the output JSON as opposed to making it just text, because it would be harder to extract this from text. And of course, we have the notes. So again, go ahead and save that. We need to name our topic. We'll just call it the claim topic. Go ahead and save that. It's saving our topic for us along with our prompt. And then once that's saved, let's refresh our test pane. Let's go ahead and write a message. I'll say I want to make a car insurance claim. I can go ahead and attach an image and go ahead and immediately send that. That will then send the image as well as the message. The message will then trigger this topic. It will then pass the image into our prompt, and then we will get the prompt response. As we can see that it is now looking for the correct topic. In this case, the topic it should select is the claim topic. So we'll just wait for that to load up. While that's loading, let me read a question in chat from Rajesh. Outputs generated by agents is stored somewhere. Example, the appointments record shown in the output. How to get that stored to a database. So also the file being uploaded for insurance claim, where it gets stored. So when you upload a file in the chat, it does not get stored anywhere. However, the records that is created from the AI prompt, you can then take each of those record column names or variable names, like the ones I specified in JSON, and then I can call in a Dataverse action. Using a Dataverse action, I can then go ahead and store each of those in a custom Dataverse table as well. So this is just the start of what you can do, leveraging the prompt, getting the data. And then what you do with the data is up to you. If you want to store it in Dataverse, if you want to store it in SharePoint, if you want to store it in an external system as well, that's totally up to you. Let me just refresh this. I'm having demos are doing its own thing today. Let's try this one more time with the image. Then once that image is sent, hopefully we get the correct topic configured for us. So sending. The image is there. We should then get the topic triggered. There you go. The topic has now been triggered. So the image has now been sent to the prompt. It's processing, and then we getting all the details from the prompt. The severity, the location, the license plate, the color, as well as any of the additional notes. And alluding to the question that came in just now, it's up to you what happens to that data. So inside of our topic, like I said, each of those points are referenced using the variable and using the individual value. Store that in Dataverse, store that in an external system. That's totally up to you. But then with that is using AI prompts. I know we're just about to conclude, but let me quickly show you how you can leverage external systems as well. Hopefully I just need about 5 minutes extra. Let me go ahead and switch on over to the weather visualizer agent. And in this agent, what I'm able to do is I'm able to create a visual image of whatever weather it is in a particular city. So I can ask for the weather, and then the agent creates a visual image for me. Now, DALL-E, the model that creates images, right now it is not inside of Copilot Studio. So what I've done is I have created an API inside of .NET, inside of Visual Studio. I'm using C#. I'm leveraging the client's library for .NET. And essentially, I'm using the DALL-E model to reference the image client of the Azure OpenAI library. I've created a robust prompt to create images. I'm passing that back to the user. This API is published, I'm gonna be leveraging it inside of Copilot Studio. I don't want to spend too much time on the actual code since it's outside of the scope of this session, but essentially I'm using an Azure AI Foundry model. I'm creating a custom API, and I can leverage that custom API inside of my agents. And for that, same thing as last time, I'm going to enable generative orchestration over here. Once that is leveraged, instead of going to topics, I'm going to go to the actions bar. And very, very quickly, what I'll do is I'm going to be adding in an action. The first action that I'm going to add is the MSN weather action. And like I said, this is part of the capabilities that you allow the agent to decide how to leverage the actions to answer a user query. So in this case, I'm going to get the current weather action. I'm going to then configure that for you. Let me just wait for it to load in. Once it's loading in here, it's just making sure that it's going to be creating a connection. So I'll go to next. Inside of this, you can see that we have the name, get current weather. That's totally fine. The description gets the weather for a location. That's also fine. Here we can configure the authentication. I'm going to change this to Copilot author authentication. And essentially what this means is that it's going to be leveraging my authentication for this API instead of the user. You would use the Copilot author for low risk, low level calls like this, where I've created the API for the company, rather use mine. But if I were to switch to user authentication, it's going to ensure that that particular user leveraging the agent has the correct access, is able to read and write from the different data sources. You might want to use that for the more secure elements. But with that, let's go ahead and go to input for location. That's totally fine. It's the location of where you want to get the weather. For units, I'm going to change this to set as value because I want this to be specific. And I'm going to use the metric unit. So let's go ahead and click done. Once that's done, add an action, and then that will automatically add that action inside of our agent. Once that action has been added, I can go immediately into chat, and then I can say, what is the weather? So you can see, what is the weather? It knows that it needs to call this current weather action. It's identifying that the location is missing. So then it's going to try and generate a question to ask me where the location is, right? So I can say something like, what is the weather in, let's say, Cape Town, right? What is the weather in Cape Town? Okay. See. Okay, let me refresh this again. Live demos. That's what happens with live demos. Let's see. What is the weather in Cape Town? It knows that the location is Cape Town. It retrieved the data, it sent it in, and then we get a description of the weather. That's fine. That's cool. But now I want to add my own custom action. Remember the API that I made. So I'm going to call it, I think I called it weather connector. Let me just quickly find out what I called it. Very quickly. I called it weather visualizer. So let me look for my weather visualizer action. This is a custom action that I've created inside of Visual Studio. You can call in your own HTTP action, any actions that you've had. That's totally fine. But let me then say, so I'm creating the action very quickly, going to next. Then I'm going to just leave the name as is, leave the description as is, make sure that I'm using Copilot auto authentication. I'm going to leverage the inputs. So for weather info, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to describe what this weather is. So for example, for weather info, I'm going to say that this is the location and its weather information given by the agent to the user. So I'll go ahead and click done. And then for response, I'm going to rename this to image URL. And then I'm going to simply say that this is the generated image that comes back from the user. So I have responded to the system, and then I can go to response settings and I will say, I want you to respond with a message. Respond with a AI created message, and I can add an action almost immediately. So I'm just using AI to describe each of those actions. I'm using AI to describe exactly what those inputs and outputs are in natural language. I haven't done anything codey yet, but this is my custom action working from the API. So I can then say, what is the weather in Cairo? What is the weather in Cairo? It correctly calls the weather in Cairo. And then I can say, can you, okay, can you create an image? For that. Hopefully my spelling error doesn't mess things up, but automatically it knows that, okay, I need to get the correct weather information. It's Cairo in Egypt. It's mostly cloudy. So it identified exactly what it needed. It's now calling my custom API. And then, oops. So it's not calling the custom API. Let me try that again. Just to show you. Okay. Let me actually do this. Can you create an image for the weather in New York? Can you create an image for the weather in New York? What I think is happening is, let me first stop my API very quickly. And again, this is the last demo, so I should be closing up very soon. Just want to say just quickly, thank you, Deco, for answering questions in chat while I battle the demo gods. But this is the last one, just to show you how this will work. So I'm running my API for me. There you go. And then but at least now this gives me a chance barreled question, so I don't have to ask it one by one. I can say, can you create an image for the weather in New York? So it knows that when I ask this, it knows, okay, let me first get the weather. So it'll call the weather action, hopefully call the weather action. Da, 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 da. wouldn't be a demo of something didn't work correctly. Yes, I'm building everything live. So to show you the experience, we only have an hour. So of course, not everything will work perfectly, but that's the thing about building, right? We just, um, we just want to make sure that everything works for you guys, just to show you that it is indeed possible. There you go. It has correctly called the weather action for New York. Then it knows that, okay, let me call the image action as well. And then hopefully that creates an image for the weather. It's processing, it's using Dolly, so it's all live. It's doing it right now as we speak. But then once that image creates, hopefully we then get a response from our action. Okay, it's timed out. So again, maybe the demigods are not on our side today, but I can assure you that this does work. I guess it's just timing out due to the network issues that I'm having currently. That's all. But with that, let me just while it's closing, because I am over time, I will close the session. My details are part of this session description on the reactor. Reach out on LinkedIn. I will share the code. I will share the slides, just to make sure that everyone understands and can work with these things correctly. Oh, just at the end, it has created our image. Yeah, and we can see apparently it's very cold in New York right now. So that is essentially how you can leverage various actions inside of Copilot Studio. All you have to do is add in a bunch of actions, ask the question, and Copilot Studio will try and identify which actions to use when, which I think is pretty cool. So thank you for working at the very last minute. I'm going to bring back Rashmita to close things out. And yeah, please do reach out, let us chat, and let's build awesome agents.
Thank you so much, Kamalimo. I think we had a lot of questions, but I think we have
Yes.
a wonderful audiences who have answered most of them. But just in case, if anybody's question is unanswered, please reach out to Gomalamo. I have already shared his LinkedIn handle in the chat section, so please feel free to reach out to him. And thank you once again for hosting this amazing session, and thank you all
Sure.
for joining us today. Please visit Microsoft Reactor website for more upcoming sessions. Also, please scan the QR code and do share your feedback about today's session. Today's event ID is 25351. Feel free to use the Learn module links. This will give you access to additional resources to take your learning further. Thank you all once again
Thank
and
you. Thank you.
enjoy
Thank
the
you.
rest of your day.
Cheers.
Bye.